Hey guys, Reckoning here. Welcome back to Let's Play Katawa Shoujo. In the last part, we got the bad ending. But, why did we get the bad ending? What set her off? The bus stop, standing by the school gates like a mutant sentinel, puts a strange idea in my mind. Do you want to head into town and look for a bookshop or something? We have the rest of the day free. It's a long shot, as Hanako doesn't like going into the city. I count the fact that we managed to get her out there even when it was so dark as a small miracle, but I genuinely want to spend more time with her. Anyway, she's likely to just refuse and go back to... Okay. Really? Really, let's go. I can't work out why Hanako's decided to agree with me, but I'm not about to ask her to change her mind. Stepping off the bus, I immediately noticed that a lot of people are around us. In hindsight, it should have been obvious. Of course, lots of people would be downtown on a Saturday afternoon. Hanako retreats close to my side, and I can feel her hand clutching my arm tightly. Her body is held against mine, and her head is bowed so low that her hat hides most of her scarring. So, where shall we go? A bookshop? Hanako's present and my other general living expenses pretty much have drained my budget, but I should be able to afford a few books. It's something I try to reserve a few funds for anyway. For a second I think Hanako didn't hear me, but then I looked to my side and I noticed her nodding almost imperceptibly. Okay, do you know of one? Actually I do. We passed a few when Lily and I were looking for your presents. Hanako's expression clouds a fraction. I gotta remember to stop bringing up her birthday. We both spent a lot of time? Or maybe I misjudged the situation. We wanted to make sure we got the right present after all. Hanako smiles and blushes a bit. It's a small treasure when she does. Anyway, there should be a bookshop just up ahead. Do you want to check it out? Sure. The crowd starts to build as we head toward the bookshop along the raised walkways. Hanako latches her other arm onto me as well, making our progress a little slower. As we walk, the sound of the traffic makes me think of a possible distraction for her. I was wondering, Hanako, have you thought yet about when you're going to learn to drive? Driving? Yeah. You're kind of lucky in a way. There aren't a whole lot of students in Yamaku that are allowed to drive. It's not the best topic of conversation, but I want to try and distract Hanako from the situation. She's really high-strung right now. Then again, after all I've really done is make her feel awkward, since she's probably never thought about it. I wish I hadn't said anything. Before long, before one of the bookshops Lily and I passed by during our search. What kind of self-respecting bookshop closes on Saturdays? Bookshops don't make much money anymore because of the internet. Maybe they just had to close over weekends. She seems pretty knowledgeable about technology. I guess it's a pursuit that would lend itself well to someone who enjoys solitude. Huh, I guess that makes sense. It's easier to find books online. Anyway, it looks like this idea is shot. Anything I should like to do? Yeah, if it's not a bother, could you show me where you bought my present? Sure, not a problem. It's not far from here. I head off in the direction of the store, only half sure of its exact location. I don't want to repeat it last time, spending half the day walking around aimlessly. Here we are, Othello's Antiques. It's small. Well, yes, it took Lily and I some time to find it. Can we go in? I don't see why not. It's open. Hanako pushes through the door and enters before me. Once again, the store is empty save for the store owner. His face drops a little when he sees me. Oh, you're not here for a return, are you? Wait, that's not the girl you had with you last time. No, we're not here to return anything. We were just in town and wanted to have another look in here. The store owner considered this for quite a long time. I guess he's not used to high school students coming to his shop on a regular basis. Might this be the friend you bought gifts for? That's right, they were presents for her. The store owner turns to Hanako, who freezes on the spot like a deer caught in headlights. He moves to address her, but stops before doing so, looking a little taken aback. He catches himself staring and looks to his side, addressing us indirectly. His expression is awkward and tense, as is his entire body. I want to be mad at him, but I know full well that I had the same instinctive reaction when I first saw her. First surprise, then curiosity, then an awkward look away as I dealt with what I'd seen. Hanako looks less panicked than before, but I think it's the feeling she's giving off now is worse. It's not anger or annoyance. If anything, it's one of apology. You're lucky there, young lady, to have friends that care about you as much as they do. Thank you. If I hadn't spent so much time with Hanako, I wouldn't have realized that she said anything. Then again, the store owner's mumble was hardly clear either, thanks in part to being directed away from us. Hanako strikes out into the store, gazing in wonder at the various items on display. She finds the dolls section and spends lingering minutes studying each and every one. It's a side of Hanako I'd only barely been introduced to. I was astonished when Lily said she liked dolls, and even more so to find her collection sitting on her dresser. She looks a little better now that she's distracted and out of the store owner's sight, but I'm still quite put off by the whole experience. I might have my own problems, but I've never had strangers react to me like that, as if I was something completely alien to them. This is a nice shop. Yeah, it's not what I expected. Do you want to buy something? I didn't bring any money. Well, we can always come again. Now that I know where to find it, that is. We can? Of course. You can come here as often as you like. Thank you. You don't need to thank me. I almost forgot what this place was. I don't really think either of us completely believes in what we're saying, but rather we're just repeating what we think we should say. Can we go back to the school now? Sure thing. Let's go. As we leave for the bus stop, I see the store owner peek through the curtain at the back of the shop. I'm not really sure what that glance he gives to her says. It feels a bit weird, and the fact that Hanako didn't see it is both a relief and a bit frustrating. Hanako and I stop walking once we reach the concrete area between the dormitory buildings. There's barely a word said between us on the way back from the city. Well then, goodbye. You want to have some tea or something? How about a game? Hanako shakes her head embarrassedly. I'm tired. Maybe later? I got homework. She sounds a little depressed. Hanako obviously does want to do more, but I suppose she would have a bit of schoolwork to catch up on. She's missed a few days of lessons. Homework. Thanks for reminding me. I've got a sack to do as well. I guess I'll see you tomorrow. See you, Wasao. Before I can say goodbye, Hanako's turned and begun walking toward the entrance to the female dormitory building. I look at the door she disappears through for a bit, before going off toward my own dorms. Today was a tiring day. Now we're going to the good and neutral half of Act 4, Scars. As if the picture didn't spoil it already, Hisao does reveal his scar to Hanako. Obviously. And I might as well, skip around to the next decision. So, I'll cut back when I get to something new or that decision. So, see you guys in a little bit. And we're back. Now, since we're going to the neutral ending, we have to trust our own judgment. Which is basically what we did last time. I listen carefully to what Lily has to say, but I can't bring myself to agree with her. I want to be with Hanako more. I want to be a better friend to her, to support her when she needs support and to be there when she most needs people. I think that now is one of those times. The memory of the store owner we met in town together still puts me off. Anyone who takes even the slightest glance at Hanako ends up staring, and to fault them for would be completely hypocritical, given my own reaction. I don't like my own scarring either, but at least I can cover it up with something as simple as a shirt. I can't imagine a life where every day would be spent trying to hide myself as much as possible. And on top of that, Hanako doesn't even have people around her that would support her no matter what she looks like. I live away from my parents, but I can still contact them and visit them when I wish. I'm all over the best course of action in my head. I find myself trying to verbally agree with Lily as softly and ambivalently as I can. We make some small talk afterward, but the both of us don't really have much stomach for it in the light of recent events. We say our goodbyes and hang up. There's at least one thing I can do for Hanako. If I make this small gesture for her, I can only hope that she allows me to come a bit closer. After talking to Lily at the end of the school day, I sat at my desk and looked out the window, idly watching students leaving the school building. Usually they left in groups, but even when they left alone, they'd say goodbye to their friends first. It's completely normal, something that I would have missed completely had it been any other day because it was so mundane. But it's also something Hanako never had time for Hanako has never had in the time that I've known her. As I stand outside Hanako's door for the second time in as many days, that fact doesn't leave my mind. I hold 2 plates in my hand. On each is not exactly the most hearty of meals, but I want to be sure that Hanako is at least feeding herself. It may also be a way to gain a little leverage in getting her to let me in. Lily and I have tried our best to be there for her. Ever since she broke down in class, I've dearly wanted to protect Hanako. You might not want to do that, Hasao. Such a thing happening to her again, or even something worse, is something I don't want to think about. The door gives a solid series of thuds as I knock on it while carefully propping one plate on my other arm. I doubt Hanako will open it for me, so all I can really hope to accomplish is to attract her attention. Evening, Hanako. It's just me. I pause for a moment to see if she will respond, but the fact that she doesn't isn't very surprising. I have some food for the both of us. Could I come in? For what feels like a very long time, some muffled voices from the floor below are the only sound to be heard. Then I can hear the sound of bare feet on the floor coming up to the door, and I have to stifle a sigh of relief when I hear the door's lock being worked. When Hanako opens the door, I look at her intently. She looks up momentarily to the plate in my left hand. It's a modest curry dish I quickly made from a packet. Her eyes then move to the plate in my right hand, which does the same thing before looking down again. As she shuffles back into her room, I realize I haven't said a word to her. I glumly follow her in, slightly embarrassed by having been so wrapped up in serving her. More than ever, the gray and stark atmosphere of Hanako's room feels like a reflection of her personality. The voices from outside become completely inaudible, and the silence inside oppressive once I close the door. Walking to the far end of the room, I place the 2 plates on her desk. I'm thankful that she let me in, but as I turn to face her, I can't help having second thoughts about coming to see her. I don't believe Lily was right, though. Looking at Hanako like this, I can only think that giving her space is the last thing we should be doing. I don't want to imagine it, but she may do something very foolish. It's just an instant meal, but it should be filling. I take a plate in my hand, offering it to her. She wordlessly takes it and sits down on the side of her bed. I take a seat in her chair, and the familiar sound of eating rings in the room as we dig in with the forks that were stuck into the rice. The curry itself, it tastes okay. I wouldn't expect much more from a packet whose brand I didn't recognize, so it's not being horrible is at least something. Eating takes the edge off the fact that she isn't talking. Neither of us really likes to talk while we're eating, and this reminds me of the lunchtimes we so often spent together. It's kind of nice eating together like this. Hanako looks at me quizzically. It's at least a better expression than what she's been wearing this far. We became friends mainly over sharing lunch breaks, so it's nice to go back to those times a bit. She hesitates for a couple of seconds, and I find myself grimacing. Did I say something wrong? Eventually she smiles and nods. I would normally be very encouraged by this, but her smile looks strange. I can't put my finger on why. Everything's the same as before, isn't it? Yeah, of course it is. You've still got Lily and me to help and protect you, and once you get back, everything will be just like she never left. Hanako nods again, her expression remaining exactly the same as before. She feels like a different Hanako from the one I'd first seen when I entered the room. It's vaguely off-putting. Both of us go back to finishing off our dinners after the short exchange. Despite Hanako looking happier than before, my eyes keep flicking to hers to reassure myself of this fact. Before long, the last of Hanako's curry is cleared. I finish the last of mine as she puts the empty plate on the desk, and I place my own empty plate and used fork on top of hers. I briefly wonder what I should say, desperately wanting to avoid another awkward silence with the prospect of leaving her room after so short a time, but Hanako is the one to speak up first. I was wondering, since you're here... She quickly goes to one of her drawers, and after a minimum of fussing around, pulls out her chessboard. Would you like to play? This time, I can't stifle the sigh of relief that escapes my lips. I hastily agree, and Hanako promptly busies herself with setting up while I get off the chair and take a seat on her bed. Once again, Hanako is willing to let me into her world with so simple a gesture as a game shared between us. I guess I was just winding myself up for no reason. After the board is laid down on the bed between us, we finish placing our respective pieces on it. Throughout our friendship, we never exchanged that many words. When we're like this, though, I see that perhaps we never really needed to. Just a simple book, or board, or meal between us is enough to bridge that distance. I make the first move, just as I've always done. This is the way our friendship was. This is the way it will probably always be. Something definitely feels different about her, though. I can't quite grasp what it is. I look at Hanako intently, but I can't work out anything from her expression. As physically close as we may be, it feels like we're further apart than ever. Hanako's a fragile person, though, and I would never want to hurt her. That was also the way things were, and the way things between us will probably always be. And that's the neutral ending. Neutral ending, basically, their relationship goes no further. I guess one way you could put it, Hanako Hisao's been friend-zoned. I guess that's the way you could put it. Like, they're not going to be more than friends. That's basically what it means. This video's only 15 minutes? Damn. Well, I guess something I could do is, since I thought we had a split path earlier, there's actually a scene that we skipped. But I can go back to it. Wait, why am I going there? Don't I have to save for it still? Yes, I do. Alright, this is one extra scene that, of course, you don't need. Well, let's see, what do you think, Hanako? What do you say, Hanako? If you all help, it shouldn't take that long at all. Hanako's fidgeting answers my question before she can even form the words. I really need to go. Well, that was to be expected. Looks like it's just me and the council girls again. It's easier to resign myself to another afternoon's work in the small council office. I'll catch up with you later, okay? Oh, okay. Right, now that the farewells are over, it's work time. I should point out that asking Hanako what she says is how you go closer to the good ending. Misha and Shizune frog marched me to the student council office, never once letting go of my shoulders. I feel a little bad for ditching Hanako like this, but if this is the price of getting Misha off her back, so be it. So then, what are we up to today? Debrief. Huh? Isn't that supposed to happen after something? Yep, we have to collate all the information for the festival so that Shi-chan can debrief the teachers. Shizune drops a large pile of paperwork on the desk in front of me and smiles succinctly. Succinctly? Succinctly. That sounds about right, right? Probably wrong. You need to sort those out into 2 piles. One for financial stuff like receipts, one for feedback, one for positive feedback. Maybe one for things that look like could be problems next year, one for problems that wouldn't be able to be fixed. That's a few more than 2 piles. Huh? Oh, yeah, right, I thought it'd be only 2 piles. My bad. Right, while I'm doing this, what will you two be doing? Well, we missed lunch because we were collecting all of these reports, so we're going to get some food. Why didn't you just sort them out where you were collecting them? Thankfully, my self-defense mechanism kicks in and prevents me from opening my mouth and further worsening my situation. Eh? How is that fair? I was fretting over the unfair distribution of work so much that I didn't notice that Shizune had kept on signing. If it weren't for Misha's outburst, I probably wouldn't have noticed it at all. Shizune seems to be delivering a fairly long string of commands to Misha, and none of them look pleasant. Reaching a conclusion, Misha signs briefly back to Shizune and then sits down at the desk next to me. Shizune waves to the both of us before disappearing out the door. What was all that about? Shi-chan was worried that you'd get it all wrong unless you were supervised. And since she can't tell you how you were messing things up, she's making me stay. Aw, bummer, I wanted to go with Shi-chan. But she's going to bring us back some food. How good is that? Misha's flippancy is out of this world. From down in the dumps to on top of the world over some calories. It's hard to imagine how anyone could operate at that level. Well, it could have been worse. So what are we supposed to be doing? Collation. I gathered that. Well, let's just start making piles. We'll work out what the piles mean later. Right. We start to separate all the papers into increasingly complex piles. At first it's just simple categories: financial, feedback, incident reports. Then they split apart into the good and bad reports, and further still until it starts to look like they've just thrown the papers onto the desk. This is hopeless. Huh? Why? We're doing what we're told, right? Yes, but it looks like we're just making a mess. No, I think we got a lot done. Shi-chan will be able to work out the rest from here. So I think we could stop here, about here then. It's almost as if Misha's common sense left the room with Shizune. Still, there's no point in arguing. Anyway, what's the deal with you and Hanako? Deal? Or no deal? You were hanging out with her today, weren't you? Have there been any fireworks? Any gossip that you're withholding from me? If I told you about my own circumstances, it wouldn't be gossip, would it? I guess not. We're just friends, I guess. Why are you so interested? I thought you and Shizune didn't like her. It's not really like that. You know Shi-chan and Lily don't get along well. And since you can't really get Hanako away from Lily, we don't talk to her much. But that doesn't mean I can't be concerned for her. What is there to be concerned about? Well, she never hangs out with anyone else, right? It's no good, He-chan. If Shizune and Lily dislike each other because their personalities are different, then I had to think how Misha and Hanako would get along. I mean, in one way or another, we're all in the same boat here, right? Well, I guess. This one time, when she left class halfway through, Shi-chan went to the teacher and asked what was going to be done about it. He said that every student here has special needs and that Shi-chan shouldn't worry herself about it. Hanako never does any group work, she just runs off. Isn't that enough to be concerned about? Yes, you're right. She still hardly says a word when we're talking. Well, that's more than I've been able to do. Shi-chan and I both tried when she started, but she got scared and ran off. I consider telling Misha that the exact same thing happened to me, but she seems caught up in thought. Listening to Misha without Shizune's influence is interesting. I think she needs to realize that people here don't care what she looks like, and that she can trust us. If she could, I'd feel a lot better about her. I think this is the longest I've watched Misha without seeing her sign. When she's with Shizune, she's constantly waving her hands about explaining the world to Shizune. The amount of effort probably places a strain even on an agile mind. And let's face it, Misha isn't the world's brightest spark. Well, I'll keep an eye on her for you. You should probably apologize for earlier. I don't think Hanako's cut out for that kind of joke. Oh? Oh! I didn't even notice. Sorry. Don't say it to me, just mention it to her. Alright then, first thing tomorrow, I'll speak to her. Good. A cacophony from the door heralds the return of Shizune. You each can't really tell how much noise she's making. Oh, Shi-chan, you're back! Shizune appears completely laden with goods from the convenience store. There was some surplus left from the festival. Since it's officially festival business, I splurged a little. Nice idea, Shi-chan. 10 points. Is that really allowed? For someone who refuses to join us, you seem to take an unhealthy interest in the politics of this council. I shall punish your insolence for rationing your portion of the feast. Fine, I get it. Misha slides the multiple stacks of paper to one side to make room for the avalanche of food Shizune is spreading out. As I watch my hard yet misdirected work become wasted, I realize that it's little wonder why these two need help. The convenience store meal isn't overly tasty, but at the very least it's filling. Thanks for helping today. Most of the time we just make up the reports for the staff. This year we can at least make up some relevant headings on the debrief. You sure this isn't a corrupt organization? Not at all. We're by the book. It's not our fault the book isn't specific enough. I thought that was the definition of corruption. You think too much. You know what? You're probably right. Anyway, I must be off. That is, if I'm allowed to leave. Your work has been deemed sufficient. You may leave. Well, thank you. You know, if you stress the free meal side of things over the endless workload side, you'd probably end up with more recruits. You might just have a point. Well, think about it. And think about what we talked about. You don't have to tell that to Shizune if you don't want. What? Oh, right. I'll try to see her tomorrow. Good night, He-chan. Night, Misha. Shizune. And yeah, that's the other scene. So, starting on the next episode, we will start toward the good ending. And technically, 100% completion of Hanako's route. Yeah, after the good ending, Hanako's route will be completely finished. There'd be nothing to go back for. No secret images, no secret scenes, nothing like that. It'd be done. Basically meaning we don't have to ever come back to it. Which is probably a bad thing. Because from what I've seen of the fans of this game, Hanako's probably the most popular. But, with that aside, I'm reckoning you were the viewer. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up or a favorite. Leave me a comment telling me what I could do better. And until next time, keep on reading.